Okay, I've got my spray monitor set. Let's go kill some weeds. The geese are already starting to come into the field. There's not a whole lot out there for them to eat. You see a little bit of volunteer corn coming up. I've got some grass, and it's that grass that I'm trying to kill. The frost is going to kill the corn once we get a frost, which here it is, November 7th. I've still got shorts on. I had the windows open last night while I was sleeping. That doesn't happen in November around here. But Trump is going to be our president, so things will change. We'll get back to normal again. So I don't really have a lot of volunteer corn coming up out here. I've seen other fields around the county that look a whole lot worse than this. Now we really haven't had the rain to germinate the corn, so that could be a help. I'm gonna have to get over here this winter with my bush hog and cut the hedgerows back some small trees coming up. The vines and the weeds and the brush just starting to encroach the field again. That's an ongoing problem. Constantly. Every couple of years I've got to do this around the fields. Let's take a look down here. Oh wow. The tide is really low. What the hell is this? Well, that's an interesting... I have no clue what that is. Well, you just never know what you're going to see down on the beach. It's about 70 degrees out here already, maybe 75. It's pretty warm. I haven't seen the tide this low in a good while. Any oysters down here? I see some oyster shells, but I don't see any oysters. Here's one that's already opened up and there's nothing inside of it. Nope, don't see any. Another calm, beautiful day. Okay, back to work. That's enough of that. I'm wasting a lot of time this morning on the internet, watching the post-game analysis, looking at memes. But this is the only one right here that counts. And it may be too much of a glare on there, but that map right there showing each county and how they voted. This map right here shows you where all of the stupid people live. Anything in blue, that's where the stupid ones live. Happy to say my county is in red. I think we went 60% for Trump, 37% for that other candidate. That's a beautiful map. Beautiful, I say. So if you are thinking about retiring somewhere nice, pull up this map first to make sure you retire to the right county. I won't say the county I live in is the right county to retire in because of our state politics, but this would be a good start right here. And while we are doing the post-game analysis, let me show you another picture that deserves attention. Most of us know about it anyway. This is the vote totals for the last 4 elections going back to 2012. The blue being the Democratic votes, the red being the Republican votes. Hold on, let me stop the tractor here. All right, you see the consistency here with the Democratic votes until you get to 2020. Can you explain that? Well, yeah, nobody can explain that. Well, those of us in the know, we know what happened there. And so we can never let that happen again. You know, so many of us were confident back in 2020 that Trump had the election sewn up and that he was the clear winner until election night rolled around, which then election lasted how many days after that? 5 days, a week before we knew who the winner was, and then it came out as Biden. That picture right there is why Trump keeps saying, and the rest of us keep saying, that 2020 was stolen. And so a lot of us did not want to get our hopes up this go round. We could clearly see that that other candidate was not the better candidate. She was only running on 2 things, and that was abortion, well, I guess 3, abortion, J6, and save our democracy. Well, it's clear our democracy has been saved with the election, the re-election of Donald Trump. So we cannot let that happen again. I mean, look at this. This is just very consistent here with the vote totals from the Democrats. And it'd be interesting. Well, Obama might be an outlier in his first election in 2008, but it wouldn't be that big of an outlier. Yeah, and you can see Republican votes going up as well. Democratic votes kind of stay the same. Republican votes have been increasing, and this year they've really turned out. But yeah, last year we knew because of the enthusiasm for Trump. All right, this video will probably be taken down by YouTube because of this. Save our democracy, and we have. And you know, listening to the pundits, the liberal pundits on television last night, I didn't listen to a whole lot of them. They still don't get it, you know? They keep saying, oh, but she ran such a great campaign, a 107-day campaign. No, she didn't. She didn't do any press conferences. Her interviews were horrible. She only had the 3 issues that she kept bringing back. She would never answer the questions. Whenever you asked her a question, she always says, oh, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood. Or, I was a prosecutor. I know how to prosecute people like Donald Trump. Those were her only 2 answers that she had. But as I said, we did not want to get our hopes up this year that Trump was going to win. We could see it. We could see his enthusiasm with his crowds at his rallies. We knew his message and that he had a good message, but we were just concerned that the election was going to be taken from us again. But thank God it wasn't. Measures were put in place to keep the Democrats from taking another one from us. Somehow we need to restore confidence in our elections again. I think the only way to do that is voter ID, although that doesn't solve it 100% since we're giving driver's licenses to illegals now. I think we need to go back to same-day voting and only mail-in ballots. If you have a valid reason, you will not be able to vote same day. This thing of voting a month in advance is ridiculous, and then having up to 5 days after the election to count votes. No, we need to get rid of all of that. But that's just my opinion. I forgot how rough this field was. I field cultivated it before we planted the corn out here, and I thought it was a bit smoother than this, but it really isn't. Now, it didn't help that some of it I came back with a row crop cultivator, and I cultivated, what, about 6 to 10 acres, I guess, so that is not going to help matters any. But I think in the spring I will be tilling this back up again. I was hoping to get it back into a no-till rotation, but no, I'm going to have to come back out here and till it up again, and I just need to spend a little more time on the tillage and get it a little bit smoother. And so you're probably asking, if I'm going to till this in the spring, why am I spraying it now to kill the grass and the weeds that are here? Well, that's because it will dry out quicker in the spring if the grass and the weeds are not on top of it and shading it. And the tillage will go easier if we get a wet spring. And what happens if you don't kill this grass and weeds, it's able to grow. And then with the wet spring, if it delays you getting in here, it just keeps growing. And then by the time you do get in here and you're tilling it up, you're just creating a mess, at least with the tillage equipment I have. And so I like to start with a clean field to till up. And oh, I hit the wrong button. So yeah, I just prefer to start with a clean field. You know, I saw the results, and I've said this in a video or two. At some point this year, maybe it was in the spring, where I had sprayed some glyphosate last fall and saw the results with the cleaner fields and a better seed bed this spring to plant it. So I'm going to try to do more of it this year. Our soil conservation and green people don't like this. They want some type of cover on these fields over the winter to keep the nutrients from going into the Chesapeake Bay, but I had better results doing this with my crops. So it's all about the bottom line and making money. When I watch some of these videos from the upper Midwest where these guys are putting down fertilizer and tilling up ground in the fall and then leaving that open tilled up ground, I'm just thinking, oh my God, our environmentalists here on the East Coast and in Maryland, they would have a field day out there with those guys and creating new laws to say, oh, you can't do that. I remember back in the day, we did a lot of tillage in the spring before we got into no-till. We would come out here with moldboard plows and try to plow up all of our ground in the fall. But once our environmentalists got involved and said, oh, you've got too much runoff, too much pollution going in the bay, you can't do that anymore. So then a lot of that slowed down. No-till also slowed it down as well, where we found the benefits of no-till in the type of soils that we've got. And I don't know why there's not more no-till out in the Midwest, upper Midwest. And I think I've heard some of the guys say it has to do with their springtime temperatures, that they need to do that tillage in the fall, open that ground up, so when the spring rolls around, that ground warms up faster, versus if it was just left and they tried to no-till into it, the ground just would not be warm enough, quick enough, in order to do a no-till situation. I don't know. It would be interesting to see if they've tried it out there. Maybe they have, and they know it doesn't work. It's just interesting to see the differences in the areas of the country and how things are done. We started no-tilling, oh my gosh, back in the late 70s, early 80s. I can remember as a kid, my father was one of the first ones with a no-till planter. And I've told this story before, that when we started no-tilling, you know, and he was new to this, we were new to this, going out into weeds and grass 12 inches tall and planting right into that, and then coming back and spray it to kill all of that weeds and grass. And of course all the neighbors were talking about him, saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, look at that mess out there, because this was new. And so as a kid, I was only 10 years old, and I did a lot of planting with that no-till planter. It was, you just get on it and you go. Of course, we had no GPS. That was the problem, was the marker systems cutting through that grass and trying to leave a mark so you could see where you were going. But yeah, my younger brother, he sat on the end with the truck and the soybeans to help me fill the soybeans, and I did the planting. So yeah, that was 1979, 1980, I guess. So we really never looked back from there, and things have just improved, and then everybody else started no-tilling as well. But yeah, those first couple of years, as I said, my father, from what I remember, he was one of the first ones in the area, in our area, to try this no-till. And we've just done a whole lot of it since then. In fact, I can't remember the last time I moldboard plowed anything. I'd have to go back and look at my videos, because I think it is on a video where I moldboard plowed, and I don't think that was for myself. I think that was for another project I was doing for someone else. I still have a chisel plow. Every now and then we will break out the chisel plow, and I may bring the chisel plow over here. That might be a good, this might be a good field for the chisel plow. Maybe after this dies out, if the fall stays decent, get a little bit of rain to soften this ground up, I may bring the chisel plow over here. Don't tell soil conservation or the environmentalists that I'm going to do that. They may be down here on my ass fining me and locking me up, and I'll have to be looking for a pardon from my man Donald Trump.